Have you ever caught yourself saying, I'll be happy when? When I finally get that promotion, or when that acceptance letter comes through, or when I hit some magic number in my bank account? It feels like we spend our whole lives chasing these finish lines, totally convinced that real happiness is just waiting for us on the other side. But what if that whole idea is a trap? Today, we're going to tear that assumption apart and really dig into what it means to build a truly rich life.
So let's just dive right in with the big one, and I want you to really sit with this for a second. What does being wealthy actually mean to you? Is it just about the money, a fancy title, or is it something deeper? This one question is really the launchpad for everything we're about to get into. So picture this. There's a high school senior, let's call him Liam. He has poured years, literally years of his life into one single goal, getting into Harvard. He's sacrificed weekends, sleep, hanging out with friends, all of it, because he truly believes that one acceptance letter will make it all worth it, that it's the key to unlocking some kind of permanent happiness.
Or maybe you can relate to this one. Think about Caleb, an employee who is just relentlessly grinding for that vice president promotion. He's completely burned himself out, he's pushed his team to the brink, and the whole time he's telling himself that the new title, that new status, that is what will finally make him feel fulfilled and respected.
And of course, there's the startup founder. You know the story. They're convinced that a massive payday selling their company will solve every single problem and just deliver a lifetime of peace and satisfaction. In their world, that's the ultimate finish line.
Look, these aren't just random stories. As the author Sile Bloom puts it so well, this is a universal trick we play on ourselves. We are constantly putting our own happiness on top of some distant mountain, always just a little bit out of reach.
And this feeling, this thing we all seem to do, brings us right to the heart of the problem. A psychological trap that so many of us fall into without even knowing it.
So what actually happens when you get there? When Liam gets into Harvard, or Caleb finally gets that VP title? Well, the initial thrill is incredible, right? A huge rush of euphoria. But then, it just fades. For Liam, Harvard quickly becomes his new, stressful normal. For Caleb, that promotion just came with more meetings and a team that resented him. That feeling of lasting happiness, it just never shows up. And instead, there's this weird emptiness and this nagging question in the back of your head. Okay, what's next?
Turns out, this whole experience has a name. It's called the arrival fallacy. The term was coined by psychologist Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar, and it's basically the mistaken belief that once we arrive at our destination, we'll finally lock in that lasting happiness. And this isn't just some pop psychology idea. It's a real, powerful psychological phenomenon. And the consequences of being stuck in this cycle, they're serious. This isn't just about being a little unhappy. It can lead to a state of constant, perpetual dissatisfaction. It causes burnout from always chasing the next thing, and it can even lead to this emotional numbness where you can't even enjoy your own wins. So make no mistake, this isn't some harmless little quirk. It's genuinely damaging to our well-being.
But why? Why are we wired this way? Why does our brain seem to constantly move the goalposts on us? Well, the answer is actually deep inside our own neurochemistry.
You see, our brains basically have two different systems running at the same time. You've got the liking system, which is what gives us that feeling of satisfaction and pleasure when we get something, but then there's the wanting system. This one is powered by dopamine, and its whole job is to make you seek, to chase, to go after things. And here's the real kicker. The wanting system is way stronger, and it has absolutely no built-in off switch.
And this is exactly how we get stuck in that endless loop. It all starts with a cue. You see a job posting, for example. That triggers your seeking system. Dopamine floods your brain, motivating you, pushing you to chase it. You get the reward, you get the job, and there's a brief moment of liking it. But almost immediately, that dopamine-driven wanting system kicks back in and starts scanning for the next target. The chase, the anticipation, is often way more powerful than actually getting the reward.
And to top it all off, there's this other little thing called hedonic adaptation. It's our incredible, and sometimes frustrating, ability to just get used to stuff. That big promotion, that new house, that dream car. It feels amazing at first, but it very quickly just becomes your new normal. It's your baseline. Your happiness level resets, and you're right back where you started, looking for the next hit.
So you can see the problem, right? We've got a dopamine system that's literally built for an endless chase, and a brain that gets used to new things almost instantly. It's a perfect recipe for dissatisfaction. And it totally explains why we're so drawn to simple, measurable targets like a number in a bank account. So, if chasing those single goals is a trap, what's the alternative? This brings us to a much better, more holistic way of thinking about what a truly rich life looks like.
This is where Sahil Bloom's framework comes in, and it's a real game changer. He says we need to stop thinking of wealth as just one thing, money, and start seeing it as a balanced portfolio. True wealth, he argues, has 5 interconnected parts: financial, time, social, mental, and physical.
All right, first up is financial wealth. Now, this isn't about being a billionaire. It's about you personally defining what your ideal life looks like, and then having enough to live that life without the constant, grinding pressure of financial stress. The real goal here is to find your personal enough.
Next, we've got time wealth. This is all about autonomy. It's the freedom to control your own schedule, to decide who you spend your time with and what you're willing to trade it for. It's about recognizing, deep down, that time is the one asset you can never, ever get back.
And honestly, what good is all that free time if you don't have anyone to share it with? That brings us to social wealth. And this one might just be the most important of all. Seriously, think about it. Nobody's dream is to be rich and completely alone. The science on this is crystal clear. An 85-year Harvard study found that the quality of your relationships at age 50 was the single biggest predictor of your physical health at age 80. Let that sink in.
Then we have mental wealth. The best way to think about this is creating internal space. The philosopher Viktor Frankl famously said that our greatest power lies in that little gap between what happens to us and how we respond. But most of us live with zero space. A stimulus comes in and an automatic reaction flies out. Mental wealth is the daily practice of carving out that crucial room to breathe, to think, and to find some clarity.
And finally, to actually enjoy all these other forms of wealth, you absolutely need physical wealth. Look, our bodies are naturally decaying over time. Our job is simply to slow that process down with good daily habits. And this isn't about becoming some elite athlete. It's just about the basics. Move your body a little, eat real food, and get enough sleep. That's what gives you the energy to enjoy everything else.
Okay, that's great. We have this new holistic definition of wealth. But how do we actually use it in our daily lives? This brings us to a really powerful, really practical tool for putting all of this into action. We all know what goals are, right? They're the destination, the mountaintop we're trying to reach. But we also need anti-goals. Think of these as the things you absolutely refuse to sacrifice on your journey. They're the guardrails that keep you on the path and prevent you from, say, getting that CEO title, but losing your health, your family, and your sanity along the way.
Here is a perfect example from Sahil Bloom himself. His personal anti-goal is to be the guy who coaches his son's sports teams. Now, it's not literally about coaching. It's a promise to himself to be a present father and husband, to be an active part of his community. So when a new, demanding opportunity comes along, he can ask himself that simple question. It's his compass. It keeps him true to what really matters.
So I'll leave you with this. Take a good, hard look at the mountaintop you're chasing. But then, and this is just as important, define the things you absolutely, positively refuse to sacrifice to get there. Because true wealth isn't something you find waiting at the destination, it's something you build and you protect every single day of the journey.